As a local power company in Tennessee, can you explain your relationship with the Tennessee Valley Authority?
Sure. Middle Tennessee Electric is a local power company, which means we're a distribution utility. The energy we distribute is generated by TVA and then carried to our service area by the TVA transmission system. TVA also serves as our regulator, overseeing our rates. However, our relationship goes way beyond just those technical roles. TVA also works closely with us, as well as with 152 other local power companies, to serve residential and commercial customers.
All right. And can you give us some insights on how Middle Tennessee Electric and Tennessee Valley Authority are working together to benefit those in the Valley?
We consider TVA to be our partner in so much of what we do. We've approached them with the needs and priorities of our membership, and they've listened to us and helped us get creative on ways to find solutions together. Some of those goals involve renewables and carbon reduction targets, while others involve technologies such as electric vehicles, or EVs. When we've taken our concerns to them, they've been quick to listen and eager to help. And our experience is one shared by many of the other 152 local power companies in the Valley.
That's great. And can you give us some examples on how Tennessee Valley Authority has helped you reach your renewable targets?
MTE is one of the many LPCs that signed TVA's long-term partnership agreement, which gave us the opportunity to add solar, meaning we can now purchase up to 5% of our average annual energy usage from someone other than TVA. For MTE and many other LPCs, we plan to use this new purchasing flexibility to pursue renewable projects that help us meet the renewable and carbon targets of our membership. They've also created programs like Green Invest that help specific members who have large, new-to-the-world renewable needs achieve their goals cost-effectively.
Awesome. And how about an example related to new technologies?
Well, I can't help but immediately think of what they've done to help us wrap our minds around electric vehicles. Besides in-depth research, they've created cross-sectional brainstorming sessions, helped us envision collaborative marketing efforts, and have been supportive of our individual efforts. We recently launched an EV car club, and when they found out that we were going to have our very first event, they made sure to have a Ford F-150 Lightning present. And the event was a big success, but everyone was talking about the F-150 Lightning.
And as EV adoption accelerates in your service area, there seems to be conflicting thoughts by some of that new electrification load could be detrimental to the system, while others say that it could be beneficial. So has MTE researched the impacts of EV adoption and the accompanying challenges load goes on the grid?
Yes, we have been researching charging habits for years, including some collaborative efforts with TVA and other partners. What research has shown us is that EV charging of residential members tends to happen outside of the hours when MTE is setting its peak, which tends to be very dependent on the weather. Because the majority of EV charging occurs outside of peak hours, EV charging can actually be considered beneficial electrification.
Awesome. And so EV adoption is a good thing for the system, but there have been recent alerts to reduce electricity usage, particularly during heat waves. So couldn't that adoption make those situations worse?
Well, it's all about when the load is being used. For instance, during extreme heat or cold, members tend to use all their HVAC units at maximum power. However, during those times, our research indicates very little EV charging is actually being done. It appears most EV charging is done during times when the grid is not peaking, which creates load that can be accommodated and served without additional infrastructure requirements. Some of this appears to be the organic habits of EV owners, but there are also some technologies we think are helping contribute to the charging of EVs at home in a grid-friendly manner.
All right, and can you share how you're finding the majority of charging is occurring outside of peak hours?
This is the result of multiple research efforts. I mentioned some collaborative efforts with TVA. One of those was a study where volunteers plugged in a device that recorded their charging habits, both the time of the day and where they charged. This gave us great insight into the charging impact on both the home and the workplace. TVA has shared with us that their research forecasts approximately 780,000 EVs within the Valley by 2035. As of June 2022, there are currently about 20,000 EVs in Tennessee. Those 780,000 EVs are only expected to impact TVA's total energy demand by 2% by 2035, according to their research. And some of our research isn't even that high tech. Through our EV Car Club, we currently have over 260 members that have been a fantastic source of information for us.
That's great. So, but don't EV owners just have to come home and plug in? How are they avoiding the peak hours?
Well, some EVs have settings that will allow the user to set when they need their car to fully be charged by. That means they can go ahead and plug their vehicle in, but the EV will often calculate when it needs to begin charging to have the vehicle fully charged by their departure time. And then, without any additional assistance from the EV owner, the vehicle will start charging appropriately. This inherently offsets the charging of the vehicle until the middle of the night when the demand is low. Other EV owners have indicated to us that they're aware of the impact on demand, and they've set their chargers or their vehicles to charge overnight just out of a sense of responsibility. Some of these users have moved here from other areas in the country where cost of energy was much higher during the day. It seems the habits they learn elsewhere are ingrained, and they're familiar with the technology available that can allow for this grid-friendly way of charging.
That's great to hear. And so you mentioned the load as a result from EV charging is considered beneficial for electrification. Can you explain some of the benefits?
Local power companies will benefit from the additional sale of electricity to EVs for their charging. An EV that uses 3,000 to 4,000 kilowatt hours annually for charging can lead to $325 to $420 in additional revenue for an LPC. The additional revenue from a load that exists outside of peaking hours helps us maintain long-term rate stability by better utilizing the power system and its fixed cost assets. Of course, we're not the only ones to benefit. Increased EV adoption also keeps refueling dollars local, meaning this effort drives economic development in our area. And the consumers benefit from the reduced fuel and maintenance costs.
See. And so you've mentioned this charging load currently appears to occur outside of peaking hours, but is there anything you can do to ensure that it continues to stay that way?
Well, MTE, as well as other LPCs and TVA, is constantly researching technologies, programs, and rate structures that can incentivize charging at non-peak times. We're not just limiting ourselves to residential solutions, but also looking at public charging. There are some exciting solution prospects that we believe will help us achieve our goal of utilizing EV charging load in a way that not only benefits the EV owner, but the entire membership.
So TVA continues to evaluate the policy directions to remove market barriers to EV adoption. In 2020, its board of directors approved a new commercial rate structure to offer more predictable charges. The rate structure is intended to remove demand charge costs to make DC fast chargers less costly to operate. It also allows owners of DC fast chargers to charge by the kilowatt hour and not by the time or by the session. TVA's local power companies will still be able to use this wholesale rate option to improve the business case for owners and operators of charging stations and encouraging investment in public charging infrastructure development. Can you share whether or not MTE has adopted this rate for its members?
Yes, we have. We formally launched this rate on June 1st, 2022, and immediately had a DC fast charging member sign up for it. The rate has been received well by many of our members who have plans to build DC fast chargers in the near future. They've all expressed gratitude for a rate that allows them to have more certainty in their costs to serve our EV owners the critical service of fast charging. The new rate is truly innovative in that it captures the impact of the charging demand in a blended energy cost without placing any burden on our membership.
On February 3rd, 2021, TVA announced a new partnership with the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation to develop a statewide, publicly accessible, light-duty EV fast charging network to power the growth of EVs across Tennessee. Specifically, TDEC and TVA have signed an agreement to collaborate and fund a network of fast charging stations every 50 miles across Tennessee's interstates and major highways. This Fast Charge TN network initiative will add approximately 40 new charging locations. This network will expand accessibility from high-density markets in urban areas to underserved markets in rural or economically distressed areas.
MTE is very excited about these grant funds and eager to pursue opportunities, allowing us to participate in this program. I mentioned that the EV Car Club has been a great source of information for us. Well, when members sign up to be a part of the club, we ask them what it is they want us to do as a club and as a utility. Our most frequent response relates to public charging. Additionally, the Federal Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act included an additional $7.5 billion in funding for EV charging infrastructure. So we'll be watching to see how those dollars get allocated in this region.
The TDEC and TVA partnership is a great example of agencies working together proactively on issues that impact all. the environment, our energy, resources, our economy, tourism, manufacturing, and so much more. And speaking of partnerships, the TDEC and TVA EV fast charging network builds off of the work of Drive Electric Tennessee. The Drive Electric Tennessee consortium includes TDEC, TDOT, TVA, and many other key stakeholders, such as local governments, original equipment manufacturers, universities, advocacy groups, and local power companies. To promote EV adoption, some LPCs offer incentives or tailored electricity rates. Can you share if MTE is offering any of these incentives?
MTE launched our EV Ready program last year that allows home builders to apply for a $50 incentive per new home that installs a 240-volt receptacle in the garage. TVA also has an incentive in the amount of $100 per home. So home builders that qualify can receive $150 per home in incentives when combining the two programs. We also extended this incentive to existing homes. Members who have installed a 240-volt service for level 2 EV charging can get a $50 credit applied to their electric bill. We're also currently researching different residential rate options for our members. We believe that EV charging can reduce our power costs, and we want to share those savings with the members. So we're studying the different technologies and approaches that would allow for a user-friendly rate structure that isn't too complex, but helps members save even more money when making the transition to electric vehicles.
Utility engagement is all about the creation of partnerships and across sectors, and it can bring a variety of resources to the planning and implementation processes for infrastructure build-out and policy design.
We recognize that we have a responsibility to our members, both EV owners and non-EV owners, to get this right. And we realize we can't do this on our own. We're proud to have such great relationships with TVA, TDEC, Drive Electric Tennessee, TVPPA, and more. There's never a shortage of people from these organizations reaching out and asking us how they can help. And of course, we see our EV Car Club as a major collaborative effort. This group represents the early adopters, and they serve as an informal focus group to us. We like to say that EVs are fun, and the EV Car Club is fun, but it's also about education. We have the unique opportunity to learn from these users what their pain points are and then how we can help them out. And we also have the opportunity to share with them what we're doing and provide understanding of how the grid operates.
From a utility perspective, planning for and managing new load that comes from electrification of the transportation system is in a safe and reliable manner is paramount. EVs provide an important strategic opportunity to improve overall system utilization and leverage technology for long-term rate sustainability.
MTE is fortunate to have an engineering team that has had the foresight to plan for new growth for decades. Our approach to infrastructure engineering design has been to build cost efficiently, not cost minimally. For instance, for the past 15 years or so, every new substation was designed to accommodate 2 power transformers, utilizing a split bus design that allows for independent operation, even if we were only going to install 1 power transformer at the time. We've also frequently maximized the ampacity of our 3-phase feeders when building line rather than trying to just design for the current load requirements. The additional cost to do this was not negligible, but the amount of savings we've encountered in the years is significant. Not only do we have infrastructure in place that can serve additional load immediately, but we can also quickly add to our service capacity with minimal cost to do so. I'm sure other LPCs in the TVA Valley have taken similar approaches, but this is a unique situation compared to the rest of the country. One of the benefits of not working with profit in mind, but rather with the goal of providing affordable, reliable, safe electricity, all while delivering outstanding service to our members.